Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over NFL Week 7. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, hit subscribe, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is the Stats and Stacks podcast. Good news is we crushed our UFC picks last week. Bad news is we got murdered in NFL. This week, we're just looking to do both here. A lot of fun stuff going on this weekend. A lot of buys this week. I think there's about 6 teams on buy, so are getting really into the thick of things with the teams being off each week. So just make sure you're cognizant of that when it comes to fantasy, when it comes to your sports betting. Just know some of the usual suspects may not be around. But it's an interesting week. A lot of backups this week, a lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of backup running backs, a lot of weird stuff going on. And the trade deadline's coming up, so there's a lot of funkiness that could occur. But we're looking to just roll with the punches here. So let's start with the very first game here. We are looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 1 point home favorites. Over under sitting at 40 points. I think a lot of this is predicated on the health of Trevor Lawrence. Is he healthy? Is he not? If he's healthy enough to go, I'd say if he's 80% of himself, I love the Jags as dogs here. The Jags have a sneaky good run defense. Their pass defense is a little exploitable, but Derek Carr is still dealing with that AC joint surgery or injury. So at the end of the day, I think Kamara could struggle. I think Olave should be fine this week. Maybe this might end up being the Michael Thomas week, to be honest with you. Short intermediate passes against the Jags seem to work the best. In regards to DFS, obviously, this isn't on the main slate. If you want your showdown slate, God knows when Calvin Ridley's going to show up. You never know. He's had 2 good games, they've had 6 thus far. When are they going to be? You really can't decipher when it's going to happen. I mean, he went crazy against the Colts in their first game. They played them again and he did nothing. He hit up 6. So you never know when it's going to happen. But I do think with the injury to Trevor Lawrence, this is going to be a Travis Etienne game. I also, and again, I think that the Saints defense isn't bad and the Jags run defense isn't bad. So I think the Saints passing game is the way to look, and the Jags running game is the way to look. So I love ETN. I'll go ahead. I'll probably end up taking Thomas and Olave. At that point, you should probably have Derek Carr. I think it's a close game, but I think Jacksonville's a more talented team this year. It's just, I don't know about the health of Trevor Lawrence. So you just be weary of this one. Gun to my head, I'm going to take the Jags, but I'll probably end up taking the under 40, to be honest with you. Low scoring affair. Next game, we have the Raiders going up against the Bears. Raiders are 3 point road dogs, or sorry, 3 point road favorites, which are weird considering the Raiders aren't that good. I know they're sporting a 3-3 record, but believe me, they are not that good. The Bears are sporting a 1-5 record. Believe me, they are that bad. They're not good at all. And especially without Justin Fields, the over-under setting at 37.5. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I just don't really know how the Bears score. Roshan Johnson should be back. Deontay Foreman's probably still going to get some work. Darrington Evans is probably the one that gets cut out here. But DJ Moore can do nothing with their quarterback. The Shepherd guy, the guy from Shepherd University, the D2 school. I don't even want to say his name, Baguette or whatever his name is. He's trash. It's really, really bad. I don't know how the Bears do not have a backup. Very confusing here. I can't trust any of the Bears offense, but don't get me wrong, the Raiders offense also not that great. Brian Hoyer is probably, I don't know if it's going to be Aiden McDonald, if it's going to be Brian Hoyer, but I know it's not going to be Jimmy G. So do you want to trust Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers with a backup quarterback? I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. Is it a Josh Jacobs week then? I don't know. Maybe. It's just a weird week going on. I probably want to stay away and just fade this game completely. But part of me is thinking in regards to a contrarian play, I need to take a look at Devontae Adams' ownership. If it's not big and it's very, very limited, he might be a sneaky play here. Same with Jacoby Myers, to be honest with you. Just in case. All right, next game, we are, and nothing on the Bears side at all. Otherwise, we are looking at the Browns versus Colts. Could also have PJ Walker versus Gardner Minshew. In this one, we're not too sure what's going on with Watson. And that kind of doesn't really matter with this Browns line. Browns are still 2.5 point favorites on the road. Over under sitting at 40. Now that is indicative of Watson playing or not. Um, I'll go ahead. I'll take the Browns to cover this. I like them with Walker or Brown. I think that defense is that good that they're going to eat Gardner Minshew alive. Obviously, Zach Moss is the GOAT. If you want to start him in DFS, to be honest with you, at some point, everyone stays away with him in bad matchups with Jonathan Taylor, and he keeps producing. If you want to jump on the bandwagon late, I don't hate it, to be honest with you. For whatever reason, he keeps doing the damn thing. I'm personally not doing it, but I do like the Browns defense in this matchup quite a bit. And they can save you a little bit of money in DFS. In regards to the Browns starters, if you want to get contrarian with Ford, I understand, but that's more of a cash play than a tournament play. Amari just keeps doing Amari things, and he was fine with Walker last week. I think he'll be fine again. This Colt secondary is not good. So if you want to do Amari, if you want to do Ford, even if you want to get crazy and do Hunt or Moss, like I understand. And Josh Downs is a PPR machine with Gardner Minshew. I mean, he may only get 30 to 40 yards, but he's getting 10 catches. So he's a nice cheap floor play if you're doing a cash lineup there in DFS. Next game of the night, we have the goated Buffalo Bills going up against the New England Patriots. Bills 8.5 point favorites. That line did drop by one after the news of the Josh Allen shoulder injury. Josh is going to be fine. He's going to play. It's not going to matter. The Patriots defense is not good. And historically, it's been good, and people are still giving them credit like they're good, but they're just simply not. They lost a lot of pieces. They lost their star corner. They lost Judon. They lost a lot of stuff in free agency. Their offense is atrocious. Mac Jones has always been a bad quarterback. I've been saying it from the start. Do I think the Bills cover 8.5? I don't know. They've looked absolutely terrible too, to be honest with you, but they just get the job done. Whatever. Win ugly last week. It is what it is. But they're definitely going to win this game. The 8.5 scares me, but if gun to my head, I'm going to go ahead and take them to cover that. I wish it was just 8. I'd feel better. That 8.5 does scare me, but I'll take them to cover it. They like to blow out the Patriots as retribution for what the Patriots put them through for decades with Brady. DFS wise, you can start Diggs. Forget the injury. You can start Allen. He's been fine this year as a quarterback. You can start Gabe Davis, man. He has been scoring. He's only had 2 games out of the 6 where he hasn't scored. So ride the hot hand. I think James Cook is overdue. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are going to split again with Kincaid coming back from his concussion. So I'd probably stay away from that. So probably Diggs, Davis, Cook, Allen, start them all. Patriots, start none of them. If you really, really want to save, you can start Kendrick Bourne because the Bills corners are absolutely terrible. I think we have to start Josh Norman this week. So yeah, the Bills are in some serious trouble in their secondary. So if you want to get crazy, you can start Bourne, but I probably wouldn't, to be honest with you. I think the Bills just kill him. All right, next game we have the Giants going up against the Commanders. The Commanders are 2.5 point favorites on the road. I don't like that, man. I like the Giants here to cover at home. I think they just win outright. I'm going to take the Giants money line here. They have some pieces. Wan'Dale Robinson's getting healthier. Saquon Barkley's getting healthier. Darius Slayton's doing what he usually does. Tyrod Taylor compared to Daniel Jones didn't skip a beat. Looks exactly the same, to be honest with you. There's no difference there. Darren Waller is going to keep doing Darren Waller things. The Giants' offense isn't that bad. They just don't have a line. But the Commanders' D has not looked good this year. I don't know what's wrong with them. They have a lot of the same pieces, and they just look worse. The Commanders' offense, not that great this year. Jahan Dotson has been one of the biggest disappointments. Scary Terry's kind of flying under the radar. He's not doing much. Brian Robinson looks okay. I'll give him that. And Sam Howell is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If you put pressure on him, he looks bad. If you don't, he looks okay. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on here. I want to fade everything here, but if you want a really cheap play for tournament wise, I don't hate Slayton. And if it's Tyrod again, Tyrod seemed to like that same route to Slayton down the sideline. He threw it multiple times, and even when it was 4th down, he threw it again. Like that's what he loves. He loves Waller and he loves Slayton. I know Jalen Hyatt got a few plays downfield, but Tyrod really just hyper targeted Robinson. He hyper targeted Waller. And then Slayton. It was really just those 3, and they're all cheap, so you can honestly play any of them, except for Waller, of course, at tight end. And again, Saquon's getting healthier. Commanders aren't the greatest against the run, so you could also kind of start Saquon as well there. And Commanders, I'm not starting any of them. I know Logan Thomas let everyone down. Maybe everyone gets off him. You can start him this week, to be honest with you. If his ownership went down over last week's debacle, you hop in after everyone hops off. Otherwise, I'm not starting any Commanders. Next game, we have the Falcons going up against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 2.5-point favorites at home, as they should be. I picked the Bucs to win the division, and I think they're going to do so. This matchup, the Falcons' defense is decent in the secondary, so obviously that's the Bucs' strong suit with Evans and Godwin. However, Baker is terrible against the pass rush, and the Falcons' pass rush is not that good, so they're not going to get a lot of pressure on Baker. So Baker should tear them apart. So I like Evans and Godwin in this matchup. Rachaad White, I'm benching until he shows me something. I think he's looked terrible all year for whatever reason. He just averages 6 points every week, no matter what. The Falcons, Bijan is the best running back that can't score. I don't understand what his problem is. Bucks run defense isn't as good as it usually is, but it doesn't matter. Bijan's going to do Bijan things, but I'm not going to do the Bijan and Algier thing. Do you want to? The real thing is, my co-host Tyler, who couldn't make it today, he was on Kyle Pitts. He's been on Kyle Pitts for years. He finally, we're placing bets. Kyle Pitts not going to do anything. He was convinced Kyle Pitts is going to go off. And although he's not here, I will give the guy his due. He called Kyle Pitts. He tried to convince me to do Kyle Pitts. I refused. I was talking about how bad he is, and then he went the fuck off last week. Is he going to do it 3 weeks in a row? Because he was fine. He's been a fine play the last 2 weeks. No, I don't think he's catching fire. I think this is where it stops, to be honest with you. Does that mean Jonnu Smith is live? No, I don't think anyone's live. I think Desmond Ridder is due for a Desmond Ridder game. And this is Desmond Ridder on the road. So no pass catchers for the Falcons. I love the pass catchers for the Buccaneers and Bijan. That's about it here. All right, next game is going to be a fun one, man. We have the Lions going against the Ravens. I like the over 43, and I like the Lions to cover the spread. I might just take their money line outright. Lions are good. I know they're going to be missing David Montgomery. Craig Reynolds hasn't been practicing as of today, so do keep an eye on that. But Gibbs is supposed to come back, so he might finally have his game. Am I going to trust it now? Yeah. I'd rather not be late on the Gibbs game. So yeah, I'll go ahead. I like the Lions here. Their money line. I like the Lions over, or the over in general, and I like to start Gibbs. Amon-Ra is going to lose his fucking mind. The Ravens secondary is not good, so Amon-Ra should go crazy. Sam Laporta had a rough game last week, but he still had like 10 targets, so you can go ahead and just fire up Sam Laporta again. Ravens side, the Lions are hard to run on. You can't run on them, and I don't think the Gus Edwards and Melvin Gordon experiment and the Ravens backfield is the way to go. However, their pass catchers, I think this is a big Andrews and Flowers game. I don't trust Bateman or Adele yet, but in regards to the rookie Flowers and the old reliable Mark Andrews, I do like that quite a bit. And I like Goff in this matchup as a quarterback play, to be honest with you. I think Gibbs is a good pass catcher. I think Amon-Ra goes crazy, and all of that's going to be through Goff. So I do like Goff a lot this week. All right, then we have the LA Rams going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Rams are 3-point favorites at home, which makes sense. I think the Steelers are a little overrated this year. I know they're coming off a bye, which is nice, but the Rams are getting healthier, and I like the Rams to cover here at home. In regards to the over-under, I'll take the over. I'll take the over. Rams games usually get kind of high there. In regards to DFS, you can pay up for Cooper Kupp, doesn't matter. Do you get scared of what Puka did? No, he had a few drops, to be honest with you. He dropped one in the end zone. If he caught that pass instead of 6 or 7 points, he's going to have the 14 and look a lot better. So yeah, I think I'm fine with Puka. The Steelers' pass defense has not looked good at all, so I'll start Kupp and Puka. In regards to the run game, you're going to save a lot of money with Zach Evans. Is he going to go off? Probably not. Will he pay off his 4K price? Probably. It only takes one run or it takes one touchdown, and I think he's going to see most of the work here. So I love the Zach Evans savings. The play, not so much, but what you can do with that 4K running back in your lineup is crazy. Steelers side, I don't know. A lot of people are on Jaylen Warren this week for whatever reason. I don't see it, but maybe I'll just go ahead and figure out why everyone's saying that. And Deontay Johnson returns, but I'm not going to start Deontay Johnson coming back from his hamstring injury, nor am I going to do it when Kenny Pickett is not 100%. Neither one of them are 100%. I'm not doing it. And I've never bought into the George Pickens hype. He keeps getting these big plays that save his day, Deshaun Jackson style, but that is not going to be an every week thing. And he did it last week. I think he did it the week before that. I don't think it's going to keep happening. So I don't remember if Pat Freiermuth is coming back this week. I did not do a lot of research on this particular game. I do like the Rams. I don't hate the over. I like the Rams pass catchers, and that's about it. People like Jaylen Warren. Keep an eye on it. And if Pat Freiermuth is playing, he's a good tight end. You can always start him. Next game, we have the Cardinals going up against the Seahawks. Seahawks are 8-point favorites. That seems excessive, but they are at home. And they'll probably get the job done. The Cardinals have not looked the same since James Conner went out. Their offense has fallen flat. Josh Dobbs is running for his life, but people are catching on and they're catching him. So at the end of the day, I will take the Seahawks. I like their money line a lot better than the -8, but they might cover it, to be honest with you. Kenneth Walker should lose his mind. The Cardinals have struggled mightily against the run, and Kenneth Walker is currently a top 10 running back in fantasy. So he's not getting a lot of recognition, though. Not a lot of people talking about Ken Walker. Maybe it's because he changed his name from Kenneth to Ken, and it sounds really generic and no one likes it. So no one likes to put him in his lineup. It's not a sexy pick putting Ken Walker in your lineup, but he's going to fucking produce this week. I will have 100% Ken Walker exposure. Their pass catchers, Lockett, DK, you can fire them both up. I know DK had that injury. I tried the Jackson Smith and Jigba approach last week. I don't know what's going on with him. So I like Lockett the most out of the pass catchers, but I just love Ken Walker this week. I think he goes crazy. Arizona Cardinal side, you could start Hollywood. He's going to get double-digit targets because there's no one else there, and that is it. End of list. If you want to start Zach Ertz, you can, but Trey McBride was getting a lot of looks last week. Do you want to start Trey McBride? Probably not. I just don't want to trust either. I'm going Hollywood and leave it alone. All right, next game, we have the returning Packers from the bye going up against the Denver Broncos. The Packers are 1-point favorites on the road. Interesting. I mean, I probably agree with it. I'll take the Packers. I thought they were better than they are. They're okay. They're not good. They're not bad. They're also banged up and trying to get healthy with Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. I don't know what their status is. I think they're both going to play. I really think Christian Watson's going to play. But if Aaron Jones is playing, that's a big difference there because we saw Mostert and Achane go crazy against the Broncos run defense. I think Dillon and Aaron Jones can do the exact same thing. So if Jones is playing, play him. If Watson's playing, he can't help but find the end zone. Romeo Doubs is a PPR machine. I like a lot of Packers this week. I mostly like Jordan Love as well. I think he can go off, but I think Aaron Jones, Jordan Love, Christian Watson are the ones I really, really like here. Broncos side, Javonte's starting to pick it up a little after his injury last year, but I'm still not trusting him in DFS yet. You know who's sneaky is Courtland Sutton. He doesn't have a huge price tag, and he's been producing every single week. I haven't been season long, and I can tell you right now, he does well. He scored almost every week, and I've never started him in DFS for whatever reason. It's not a terrible price. Maybe it's time to wake up and do so. So I will consider it Sutton, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be very low exposure. Next game, we have one where I think the Chargers are getting screwed here. We have the Chiefs versus Charger. Chiefs -5.5, over under sitting at 48. I'm going to take the under. I think the under is doing too much there. And the Packers Broncos, I'm sorry, I'm going to take the under as well. I don't think I said it for the Seahawks either. I'll take the Seahawks under. A lot of unders here. A lot of unders, like 60% of unders are hitting as a whole this year. But again, I think the Chargers are getting screwed. They just played on Monday night. Now they have to play on Sunday, short week. Meanwhile, the Chiefs played on Thursday night. They get an extra 3 days rest, and they have a mini bye. So you have a team on a short week playing a team on a mini bye. in Kansas City. Like that's not fair at all. The we saw the Bills struggle mightily going up against the Jaguars in London when the Jags were already there. Kind of a similar situation. It's kind of BS to be honest with you. But I'll go ahead and I'll take yeah. The Chargers like to lose or win by 3 no matter what. These although it's short, man, it's a mini buy, but I'll still take the Chargers to cover. I don't think they win outright, but I think they cover the 5.5. I think it's too many points. We're a division rival. In regards to DFS, Mahomes hasn't been that great this year. His receiving core is awful. You can obviously pay up for Kelsey if you want. You can always pay up for Kelsey, but that's it. I'm not going to start Mahomes or his wide receivers. I don't know who it's going to be. People are really high on Rashid Rice now. All of a sudden, I don't know. You don't know who it's going to be. It's not going to be MVS. But outside of that, like that's not. I don't want to start any of them. They're not producing outside of Kelsey. Isaiah Pacheco is doing fine. If you want to start Pacheco, you can. But the Chargers' run defense is getting better this year. Every week they've gotten a little better. So I don't even really want to start Pacheco. Is it a McKinnon game where he catches a screen for a touchdown? Maybe. That really wouldn't surprise me if he did it again. He does it sporadically, like once every 5 weeks, and I think he's due for one. Especially the way the Chargers play D. They're all going to be on Kelsey, and then you can probably get a short. Yeah, I like McKinnon here. I think it's a wild. I think it's a wild play, but I do like. I think this is McKinnon week. I've been able to call them the last few for whatever reason, and I'm telling you, I think this is a McKinnon week for DFS. And in regards to the Chargers, I like Josh Palmer, his production and his price. I like Keenan Allen. He just goes absolutely nuclear. Austin Eckler is always going to be a good start, but I really like Allen and I really like Palmer this week against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs defense has been really good this year. But Allen is unstoppable right now, and Palmer flies under the radar with his price and production. And then that takes us to the main game of the week. We have the Dolphins going against the Eagles. Eagles are 2.5 point favorites at home, as they should be. Over under sitting at 51.5. I'll take the over because both these secondaries are terrible. The Dolphins corners are awful without Jalen Ramsey. Eagles corners are also injured. They look terrible. They just lost their first game to the New York Jets. Dolphins definitely better than the Jets, but I think the Eagles win this game. I think people are going to over exaggerate how bad the Eagles look because they've just been playing to their opponent's competition. They have been kind of messing around all year. But I think they're going to be pissed off after that loss and take it out on these poor Dolphins. Dolphins have an explosive offense, but they're on the road. They're playing a good team. They're playing someone that can keep up with them offensively. And we saw when the Bills did that, they struggled. We saw when the Chargers could keep up with them, they struggled and barely won that game. If you can keep up, you really do. The Dolphins kind of falter. And I like the Eagles to win here quite a bit, especially at home. DFS wise, you can always start to Waddle and Hill. You can always start them. You can always start Mostert. You can start all your Dolphins. I think there's going to be a shootout. The Eagles, you can start. I think Devontae Smith is due. AJ Brown should probably go nuclear. And you can start Swift, and you can just count Jalen Hurts in for a tush push or a touchdown, a rushing touchdown every single game. You can fire them all up. I'll probably stay away from Dallas Goedert. But outside of that, start all your typical Eagles, start all your typical Dolphins, and just enjoy a slugfest here, where I think the Eagles come out on top. And then that takes us to the Monday night game. We have the 49ers against the Vikings. We have no idea if Debo's going to play. We have no idea if CMC is going to play. But I really don't give a fuck. I think the 49ers win this game. They lost their first game and are going to be pissed off as well. For a showdown slate, if there's no Debo, Ayuk has been going crazy. He's been hyper targeted every game where Debo was not there. So definitely start Ayuk. Even if Debo is there, he's not 100%. He might be a decoy again. So I like Ayuk quite a bit. I think I'm going to make Ayuk the MVP. CMC, if he plays, you play him. It doesn't matter. If he doesn't play, I think Elijah Mitchell is the play, not Jordan Mason. I think Jordan Mason was a product of happenstance last week. He was the one that was ready to go, not coming off of an injury. So that's why it was a Jordan Mason game. Now I think it's Elijah Mitchell's turn. George Kittle, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on why he did nothing, and I don't think it matters. When Brock is going to struggle, and when push comes to shove, he's going to look for Ayuk and his running backs. Viking side, I'm not messing around with KJ Osborne or Jordan Addison in this matchup. 49ers D is really, really, really good. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch the Madison Acres experience. I don't want to touch anything on the Viking side without Justin Jefferson, to be honest with you. I'm not touching any of them. Maybe I'll go back to TJ Hawkinson. That's a maybe in regards to that showdown slate. But I do love Ayuk, and it's just a matter of seeing how the injuries fall in that matchup. And that's week 7. Again, Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, Jets, Panthers, Texans, all on bye. That's a lot of offensive firepower that is sitting out this week. And a lot of injured quarterbacks, a lot of injured players. So please keep an eye on the injury report. It's going to really make or break this week. And if you play your cards right, you're going to make some money. Let's get it.